What's up, everybody? This one is dope, man. Thanos is coming back to the MCU, at least according to some new reports. So in this video, I talk about the reports. I talk about sort of the history of these reports over like the past 6 months. There's been a lot of smoke here. And then I also go over several reasons as to why I think this is actually perfect. I think it solves a lot of the problems that Marvel has going into Avengers 5 and 6. Like, let's be honest, a lot of question marks around Avengers 5 and 6. Some of this has to do with Kang. Some of this just has to do with like the Avengers, the sort of B team that we have. And believe it or not, Thanos coming back and being a big villain in the next two Avengers movies would solve a lot of those problems. So here it is here. Smash a like on this video if you like it. You can always check out these segments and the streams live. We stream on Twitch, we stream on Kick, we stream on Twitter, we stream over on our streaming channel on YouTube. Okay, so Thanos probably coming back. A lot of buzz around this. Even more buzz when yesterday, Insider and Scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, said Thanos is returning. And this lines up with a ton of other stuff. Josh Brolin recently talking about Thanos coming back. Other hints from other Scoopers and Insiders about Thanos coming back. And I think, to me, the question I've had and the sort of train of thought that I'm on has to do with a report from Daniel RPK, which came out, I think, within the past couple of months. And Daniel said Kang is still going to be the villain in Avengers 5 and 6, but Marvel wants to add another one. Another one. That, to me, kind of lines up with other reports from people like the Cosmic Circus that were talking about how one of the plans that Marvel is considering is not so much using the Council of Kangs anymore, and instead using villains from throughout the multiverse. Other villains. Fill the void of the Council of Kangs. And I continue to believe, although we don't know for sure, and I think that, if anything, the past couple of weeks have taught me that we need to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. Because, I mean, Shine has like a 74% record on Scoops. Do you know what I mean? And Alex Perez, who I think has incredible sources, I think he sometimes makes connections that aren't there and reports things prematurely, because Alex is a guy that was telling us maybe you're going to get Phoenix versus Scarlet Witch in Deadpool 3. Maybe you're going to get 838 versus 616 in Deadpool 3. And now Alex is telling us all to curb our expectations, which is hilariously ironic. My point is, we got to treat this just as a rumor. This is probably something that's being spread around behind the scenes at Marvel, but how much of it is actually true? Has there been a decision made? We don't know, okay? But this is another, let's just add it to like the list of reports and the list of things that have come out that suggest that Thanos is returning. My question is he the second villain? Is Thanos going to be in the next couple of Avengers movies? And let me know your thoughts on that just immediately in the chat. But I want to talk about why I think this would be brilliant. I think this is the way to do it, because I think Thanos being in the next two Avengers movies solves several problems that those movies potentially have, okay? Number one, it solves the name recognition problem, okay? When, I would say maybe before Infinity War, and certainly before Endgame, if you were to ask any normie, any uncle, any grandma who Thanos was, I don't know many of them that would be able to answer that, okay? But now, after Infinity War, after Endgame, I would venture to say a surprising amount of normies would be able to answer to you who Thanos is. I mean, we talk about this a lot. They made Thanos the new Darth Vader. Like, he has significance within pop culture. I mean, people right now are calling Drake Thanos within this rap beef. And I mean, we all get it, because Thanos has broken through that consciousness, that collective pop culture consciousness, right? So you go ask all of these normies, these uncles, these grandmas, do you know anything about Kang? I'm telling you, man, 100% they're going to be like, who? Who the is Kang? Like, real talk, bro. And Quantum Mania super underperformed. I bet people didn't really watch that movie like that. He's not even known as Kang in the Loki shit. Like, nobody knows Kang, bro. So you tell people, I mean, given where Marvel is currently at right now, right? They need a lot of normies, and they need a lot of like uncles, grandmas, grandpas. They need the mass appeal audience that all came to watch Infinity War and Endgame. They need all of those people to go into the movie theaters and watch the next couple of Avenger movies. You're not going to be able to get those people to be like, oh, Kang? That sounds incredible. Unbelievable. Let's go see that Kang person. Nobody knows who Kang is, man. So Thanos solves the name recognition problem from the normie perspective. On top of that, he solves the name recognition problem within the universe. You tell the Avengers as they exist right now, hey, Kang's coming. How many of them know what you are talking about? It would be Ant-Man. And isn't that it? Like, who else within even the Avengers would know who Kang is? And why would they be afraid? Like, why? Why would they be afraid? Thor? How? How does Thor know who he is? How? Thor doesn't know who he is. So the opposite of that happens when you introduce Thanos. How would people on Earth, within the universe of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, how would the people on Earth, including the heroes and some of the villains, how would they react to Thanos is back? Like, real talk. How would they react to that? Especially if it's a version of Thanos that has won and in his universe has beat the Avengers. Yeah, they would freak out. That's what would happen. If you mention Thanos, you're going to have people having existential crises. You're going to have heroes like maybe Thor himself. What do you think Thor would think if Thanos was back? What do you think Hulk would think if Thanos was back? What do you think Vision would think? That's not to mention all the OGs. If they somehow bring back Tony Stark, if they somehow bring back RDJ Tony Stark, and it's the same character from before, maybe it's a variant taken out of the time stream before he killed himself, what would Tony Stark think when Thanos came back? So there's like actual oomph there from a story perspective. It would mean something. It would cause people emotional conflict as well as literal conflict. And that includes your OGs. We could get our Hulk rematch, finally. We could get some kind of an extension on the conversation between Thanos and Stark. Remember, Thanos knew who Stark was before he ever met him. We don't fully have that explained, but maybe we could if Thanos returned. The other thing that I think this would be really useful if they brought Thanos back has to do with variants. Because I still think variants are somewhat of a hard sell overall. Deadpool's going to do some heavy lifting in regards to that. I think Loki's obviously done a good job. Spider-Man kind of did its own thing and really relied on the nostalgia of, previously established franchises. But if you bring Thanos back, okay, and just imagine this scene, because we had scenes like this in Infinity War, right? Where literally they're trying to explain it. Like Tony Stark's like, tell me his name again. And they're like explaining the shit, right? You have Gamora explaining. You have Nebula explaining. There's a lot of like explaining what Thanos is about. Can you imagine, because I think it would be King Thanos, can you imagine a scene where the Avengers are gathered and maybe it's Bruce, maybe it's Thor, maybe it's RDJ Iron Man, and they're like, this isn't just Thanos. This is Thanos from a universe where he beat us and then he beat everybody. This is like Super Thanos. That would be interesting. You still get to attribute all of the horror, the emotional conflict that character caused so many people. Literally, half the world's just gone. And yet it's amplified. It's like, this isn't our Thanos. This one's way worse. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're at a place where bringing Thanos back, especially if it is King Thanos, solves a lot of the problems that the multiverse saga, really phase 4 into phase 5, have created. Because you got to remember, guys, according to the reports out there, they were thinking about moving away from Kang before the Majors thing. We're talking Quantumania comes out, and they're all the Marvel offices going like, oh shit, like, I don't know, man, like, what do we, you know what I mean? And it feels like there are just, from conception, some problems with what they try to do with the multiverse. Like, I don't know how we're supposed to fear this guy Kang, given the way they've established him, given the rules. Like, I just don't see it. You know what I mean? So to me, I think this is the move. I think it's the obvious move, to the point where, like, I would be confused if they went another way. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, like, considering everything that's going on, everything that plagues Marvel currently, I would be like hella confused if they went another way. And sure, you'll get some people that are like, oh, going back to Thanos and all that shit. Bro, it doesn't matter. It still solves the problem. And I tell you, for sure, a lot of normies that aren't chronically online, like most of us in here right now, would literally hear, oh, Thanos is coming back for the next 2 Avengers movies, and they would get excited. They would want to see that. I promise you. I promise you that's true. So there's buzz, there's smoke. I think there's fire. I think Thanos is the second villain in Avengers 5 and 6. And I really believe that's a good move from Marvel's perspective. And I think we'll probably get more info on that within the next couple of weeks and months. Because I also feel like a lot of the scoopers already know it, including Daniel. And I bet Daniel doesn't want to say it because as soon as that happens, we're going to understand it's Kang. My opinion. But I think they all know it already. And I think it's Thanos. King Thanos. He's bad.